Hey, and welcome back to your third video entitled The Kiss Technique. In just a minute, I'm going to show you the well-guarded technique that will reveal a step-by-step process and a way to get any woman to kiss you. And if you want to walk up to a girl tonight and magically have the power to flip her sort of kiss me switch, even though you've just met her, then you'll know exactly what to say to get her to snap into daydreaming about kissing you. You'll know the subtle signal that reveals with 100% certainty that it's working. And you'll use a proven method that I only teach my one-on-one clients that will get her to lean in for the kiss first instead of having to risk it all yourself. But first, as promised, you're going to learn the final two biggest mistakes that men make that ruin their chances with women. And as you probably remember, the first five on the list of the biggest mistakes that guys make with women are being needy, giving too much positive body language, not touching enough, buying time or attention, and creating an imaginary relationship. Now it's time to move on to the sixth mistake, and it's called being too cool for school. As guys, we make many massive assumptions about women. One of them is the assumption that we can hide what we're really feeling from them. But women are like human inauthenticity detectors. By that I mean they can basically smell your bullshit from a mile away. Acting too cool for school means you're acting like you're a confident guy, but women can tell that you're faking it. The real question, I think, is how can they tell? Well, it's pretty simple, really. I'm going to give you a pro tip here real quick to help you figure this out. What we see when we come across another guy who is a badass with women is a guy standing there being surrounded by women, right? That makes sense. So what do we think? We think, well, in order to be a badass with women, I have to be surrounded by them already. But the problem is that he didn't get those women to surround him by standing there, of course. I mean, he did some stuff. He did some behind-the-scenes work to sort of pique their interest that you didn't see. So naturally, we think, well, I'll just stand there and look cool, and every girl will want to come up and talk to me. But yeah, that doesn't really work very well. Instead, you end up looking like you're full of yourself, and women love to reject a guy who's full of himself. Nothing gives them any greater pleasure. So you'll have to know the right way to interact with women that will actually make them want you so badly that they compete with each other over you. And if you don't know that simple secret way to come across like a badass with women without hitting all of their your faker triggers, that's exactly what will happen. Women will actually compete with each other for your attention. I'll talk a little bit more about how to do that in a bit, but next is the sort of final of the biggest mistakes and the biggest mistake that men make that totally obliterates attraction and turns all women off immediately, and that is getting boring and stale. So let me explain this one because it's kind of vague. Now, women know they have options, and they're constantly looking for the best option for them. I mean, the problem is that most guys get into sort of a comfortable place where they feel like they have sort of enough options, which basically means two options. And then they stop improving and they stop learning how to be a badass with women. So naturally, another guy who is improving faster and is more driven shows up. And all of a sudden, she leaves the lazy guy for the new guy because women are like talent scouts. They are constantly gauging how fast you are growing and how confident you are. And the more confident you are, the more attractive you are to women. So you have to make it sort of part of your life. It needs to be part of your identity. That you discover the secrets that lead to true confidence, and you constantly have new women chasing you. You have to be desired by women. Over the years, I've seen pretty much every kind of problem that a guy can have with women. But there's one problem that every single guy I know has a problem with, and that is going in for the kiss. Now imagine you're on a date with a kind of beautiful woman that you don't get the opportunity to spend time with as much as you really like to. Everything seems to be going great. I mean, she's laughing at your jokes. She's smiling. She seems impressed by everything you do. And this is perfect. And then it happens. There's a pause in the conversation. You feel a sort of ominous cloud hanging over the two of you. She stops talking. And you know that if you don't go in for the kiss now, that it's going to be too late and she'll change her mind about you. So you take a deep breath, tell yourself, go for it. It's now or never. And you lean in to kiss her. And then she turns away. What? I mean, why? What did you do wrong? How could you not feel completely and utterly rejected? She seemed almost hurt that you even tried to kiss her. Doesn't she like you? Wasn't she getting along with you? Are you even her type of guy? The answer to all these questions are yes, yes, and yes. So then what was it? What happened? What went wrong here? Well, it took me a long time to figure this out. And the reality, the fact that you even have this problem in the first place shows me that you're more advanced than the average guy. It's what I call a high quality problem. But either way, the question still remains, how do I fix it? Well, this might not seem like that big of a deal to you in the grand scheme of things and sort of the big picture, but it can have a really seriously detrimental effect to your long-term love life. Now, imagine you meet your future wife and you don't know how to attract her. You don't know how to go in and make things physical, and basically it changes the course of the rest of your life. I mean, this can be a really serious thing. So you are going to have to kiss the woman of your dreams in the future at some point. And so you need to know this. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you right now the kiss technique and how to keep this from ever happening to you ever again. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to know exactly when it's actually time to go in for the kiss. Now, the way to tell this is like whenever you're talking, you're having a good conversation, maybe sitting down or you're standing up at the bar or something, and you're leaning in toward her. Try this. Whenever you're both leaning in toward each other, try leaning back once and see if she leans back too. If you lean back and she's still leaning forward, that means it's time for you to go in for the kiss. So if she's instead, if you lean back and she leans back, that means she's not interested enough and you have to keep building the attraction. So once you get to the point where you lean back for a couple seconds and she doesn't lean back, she keeps leaning forward, then you're going to go to the next stage. And the next stage is to do what's called triangulating. Triangulating is where you look at one of her eyes, say her left eye, then her right eye, and then her mouth. And then you go her right eye, her left eye, her right eye, her mouth, her right eye, her left eye, her mouth, her left eye, her right eye, her mouth, over and over again. And what you're doing is you're creating this upside down triangle, looking at each of her eyes back and forth and then down at her mouth. And you're going to do this slowly, and you maybe look at one eye and then count to 1 or 2 and then move on to the next one. And you're going to keep on cycling through this process maybe 4 times. And now what you're looking for here is you're looking to keep doing it every once in a while until she starts doing it back to you. When you see her start to look at your mouth when you're talking, then it's time for you to go on to the next stage. And here's where the magic happens. I want you to repeat exactly what I tell you to say here, and guarantee you it'll work 99% of the time. I've had great success with this one. So whenever you see her triangulating back to you, I want you to say, "It's okay." And she's going to say, "Well, what's okay? What do you mean?" And you say, "You can kiss me. I want to kiss you too." And at this point, you might have a lot of things rolling through your head right now, like you could be rejected, or it's kind of a scary thing to say. But at this point, I promise you that the chances of you getting a kiss have just skyrocketed. So at that point, you lean in very slowly and you get the kiss. Alright, so you'll use this technique and you'll get the kiss, but then what? I mean, if you don't know exactly what to do next to keep escalating her attraction for you, she'll get bored, she'll see some other guy that knows what he's doing and go hook up with him instead. And seriously, that's what she'll do. And if you want to keep the attraction going, and if you want her to choose you over all of the rest of the guys she's met, and if you want to get the art of attracting women down like a science, you'll have to know exactly how to touch her. You'll have to know this secret psychologically backed system behind getting a woman to be attracted to you. And you'll need to know how to use body language to show her you're used to attracting gorgeous women just like her. And if you know how to do all of these things, you'll be the one that ends up hanging out with her later. This is not a theory. This has been tested and proven to work. I have learned, extensively tested, and refined all these different sort of shortcuts to attraction mastery, and I put every single one of them into the Tao of Badass.